Do you want us to explain to you the lore of Power Rangers?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say go
Yeah.
back to
So-
like give me the whole mythos, at least that you know from the beginning.
You since you're Mighty Morphin, I was a Dino Thunder kid.
Yeah, see, I
Go
was
ahead.
Mighty Morphin
there's
Power Rangers.
Is there like an overarching story to all of it?
There
Like,
is. That's what's crazy.
Is it like a Doctor Who thing where
It's-
like the whole story connects, but there's just different characters
So
each season or some
long
shit?
before Marvel, they did a big ass Power Rangers crossover. Where, like there's like 30 of them now.
Mhm.
But like when I was a kid, I remember like catching the tail end of Mighty Morphin,
Mhm.
and then it was Dino Thunder. I think there's probably some weird one in between, but Dino Thunder was the next.
There was
big
I remember
one.
there was a cop one.
To tell you how kick-ass Mighty Morphin...
SPD.
Yeah.
Tell you how big Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was. They had a movie in '94.
Yeah.
And fucking Def Leppard made a song for their movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big.
And it's
That's-
a great fucking song.
Was it like a movie in theaters people went to see?
Yes.
Like big movie.
Yes.
It was like the
Wow.
Pokemon
So
movie.
and
Wow.
then yeah, and so if you look up Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, you'll
Mm.
understand why like it became very popular.
She's hot.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out hot people.
And
man.
then like
Shout out
Jason,
hot people.
Jason
Always
and
just-
Rocky, so they changed the Red Ranger halfway through, but like Rocky he was so fucking cool.
halfway through the Mighty Morphin series.
Yes.
Was there like
There
scandalous
was,
reasons
I
behind
like
it?
Jason.
you like Jason?
I like Jason. I had remember the old flipper toys where the heads flipped. into
Dude,
their
I
body?
still have
I had
mine.
Jason's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it
Again, action figures, shit like that.
They-
movies,
they
dying
had it all,
movies.
man.
I would have.
This is like right up your alley.
That's what I'm saying. This would
Yeah.
have been like a perfect thing.
And- and the
perfect thing for me.
and the funniest thing is like the comedy
Mhm.
still kind of hits.
I watched.
It's not bad.
I tried to anyway rewatch all of Dino Thunder in like senior year of high school because I had like 4 back-to-back study halls.
Mhm.
And at the end of the year, I'm like, I don't know what to do here anymore, and I'm tired of sleeping. So I literally like would take someone's phone that had Netflix and
Mhm.
watch Power Rangers.
Power Rangers time. That's great.
So
Morphin time.
there was one of my dad's friends, his kid was maybe like 4, and I was like 10 at the time. And he had every Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Mm.
And like literally it was to the point I'm like, like the kid's cool. Like we play, like we talk wrestling and
Yeah,
stuff. But
yeah.
after an hour, I'm like, okay.
Okay.
And there were days I'd have to be there all day.
Uh-huh.
And we just started watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And it was so good. Like to rewatch it all. And then the theme song.
All of the Power
Oh.
Rangers theme songs always slapped. Like to this day. Calm
Oh.
down, boys. To this day, I replay the SPD theme song in my head, and that was like the last one I watched.
Mhm.
But like Power Rangers SPD had such a catchy theme, it just keeps playing in my head.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, that's a real thing. The Power Rangers meet
This
the Ninja
is.
Turtles.
I haven't seen this video before, but like I saw this
Crossover.
title. This title of this.
They did a
video.
couple of these, and they had
Really?
one. It was during the weird period of time where, like, I don't know if it was its own show. It's weird because I'm more of a Ninja Turtles guy than a Power Rangers guy,
Mhm.
but I don't recall this show. It was like the live action show.
Yeah,
but
I
they
knew
had a
that.
5th turtle that was the lady.
Yeah, I knew
was
about that
during
show.
this.
I don't think I ever watched it. Never.
So when he said about Pokemon,
Mhm.
Power Rangers was Pokemon before Pokemon.
Yeah,
Like it was the
Yeah,
first
I feel like
thing.
I feel like that's a good way to put it.
It was the first thing to come over from Japan, and it was fucking huge.
Oh, it came from Japan.
I think so.
It did.
I would
It was a
believe
different
that.
name, but it
I would
came from
believe
Japan.
that.
Like it
That's
was.
super cool.
It was really like
I might have to
video
get into-
games, all of it.
I might have to get into Power Rangers.
It was good, man.
Is that like something that I don't know if I'd be able to like actually invest my time into watching Power Rangers though. I don't know. Does it hold up?
It holds up.
I know there was a new movie.
Mighty
semi-recently.
Morphin Power Rangers holds up.
I think Dino. If you watch Mighty Morphin, follow it with Dino Thunder because it ties in.
Yeah, see, I never got into Dino Thunder.
They make it's like
I got mad. I was like, how dare
got-
they? Like,
I got
I'm like,
mad.
these are not the fucking people I know.
see.
Yeah,
I
I-
followed it like 3 episodes in when I first started watching it again in high school, and like the 3rd or 4th episode is when they reintroduce Jason, Tommy Oliver, JDF.
Yeah.
They reintroduce him in like the 3rd or 4th
Yeah, see,
episode.
I didn't know that he had come back.
He plays the Black Ranger and then the evil White Ranger.
I remember the evil White Ranger.
The evil
It
White
sounds
Ranger
so
is what I
cool.
live for.
And then Green Ranger, dude.
Yeah,
With the
there
flute.
was definitely one like I know that I had one movie special that like I would watch on occasion again. And,
You
like,
would
it just
like-
never I don't know.
You would like the Power Rangers movie just because of the way the guy says, ooh.
I like that. I like
It's kind of like Garbage Day.
Like, so yeah, the whole premise of the movie is there's this evil guy
Mhm.
He comes. So he's
Yeah,
like,
wait,
in
hold on.
this-
We never got to it. What's the? I'm
Lord
sorry to
Zed.
cut you off. What's the? I'm sorry. What's the plot of it all? Like, what do you know of the mythos of?
They are trying to save the world from what's her
Lord
name?
Zed.
Yeah, but what's the woman's name that's on like the planet with the evil
Oh,
laugh?
Shit.
That was a good evil.
Keep
laugh.
talking. I'll
It's-
figure it out.
It's not Zelda, but I want to say Zelda for some reason.
Zorgon.
No, so Zorgon is the god that like gives them the powers.
Ah.
So he knows that they're going to try to take over the world, and he's like, I need people that are pure at heart.
Rita Repulse.
Rita, that's what it was. Rita?
Rita.
Low-key kind of hot.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Want me to pull up some
What?
reference for Rita while you
Yeah,
talk?
it wasn't.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
wasn't bad.
Go ahead.
But so like she would send like all these different evil things to Earth to try to take over, and the Power Rangers were saving Earth, and nobody knew. It's what's weird. Now that I think about it, it's like almost they took the coolest parts from every. So like he was a teenager like Spider-Man, and nobody knew who they were.
Uh-huh.
And then they got their powers from a god,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Thor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just a bunch of different things.
They pulled the coolest
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, and then when they would have like their own little like almost like Transformers in a way, and then they would come together,
Megazord, yeah.
to make like an ultimate robot to take
I've
on
seen
giants.
like that kind of thing. Were they like vehicles or were they?
Oh yeah,
So it varied between series.
but you had like so in Mighty Morphin, that's the only thing I could speak on
yeah,
really.
Yeah.
You had like cars. You had what was it? It was Panther,
Mhm.
Triceratops, T-Rex, Pterodactyl,
Mm-hmm.
and was it a leopard? Leopard was yellow.
I honestly was zoned out because I was looking up the Megazord.
So red was T-Rex.
yeah.
Blue was Pterodactyl. Black was
Mighty
Panther.
Morphin we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Black was Panther.
Mhm.
Pink was no, yellow was Sabretooth.
Yeah, the original yellow was Sabretooth.
And
because,
then-
yeah.
Pink was
Jaguar?
something like that. So like they would be like the giant robots would be those animals,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would come together to make this giant robot and just beat the hell out of people. It was
Yeah.
great. So good.
Sorry, I'm looking at Power Ranger.
No,
pictures.
Right,
I
but- And
it's
the
so cool.
the
Even
power-
now, I'm like,
so-
yeah, this is cool. I can get into this.
so the Power Rangers movie that they just came out with, it is based more so on Mighty Morphin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's an okay movie.
Haven't seen it. I didn't like how the suits
It's-
looked. Not gonna
It's
lie.
it's an okay movie. It gives you your Power Rangers fix,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not as good as the one that came out in '94.
Also, sidebar: Power Rangers is a game called Battle for the Grid. It's just Tekken, but Power Rangers.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Are you gonna give him the lore, the rest of the lore of this?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's,
So I mean, there's really
there's a bad guy and there's a bad.
they're-
and they're on like a alien planet and they're like, we're gonna. and
Yeah. So then they're like trying to attack Earth, and basically Zorgon is like, we have to find the most innocent, purest people
Mm-hmm.
to defend Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when he gets these teenagers.
Hmm.
And plus you got the two bullies, Buzz and oh god, I can't remember, but they're like the stupid like high
Yeah.
school bullies still like, what are you guys doing over there, Jason? He's like, just leave us alone, man. Oh yeah, I bet. Like it's shit like it's stupid
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
like that.
The typical bully.
Yeah, and
I
no,
like it.
it's pretty good. Like each episode is different.
I feel like I missed out.
But the movie,
I got
Mr.
Power Rangers
Ooze.
FOMO.
So what happens is they're
Mr.
doing
Ooze.
Mr. Ooze.
Wow.
They are starting to do like construction, and they come across this giant egg. There's
Mhm.
an earthquake. The egg opens up, and it's Dr. Ooze. That's what it was.
Doctor Who's, yeah.
So Dr. Ooze, he starts selling his ooze as like this cure-all, and adults start using it, and they get zapped, and they start following.
Oh, it's like a
Yeah.
mind control thing, like
Jim-
Plankton with the buckets.
You know what it's like? Jimmy Neutron, the movie.
Yeah, dude,
Uh-huh.
that's
That's
a great
exactly
movie.
what it's like.
Okay.
It's like that.
Yeah.
So then, like, the Power Rangers are conflicted because, dude, they got to fight their parents. They
Right,
got to fight their
right,
teachers. They're
right.
like, I can't be doing this.
Right.
So they end up, yeah, there he is there.
Wow. Zorgon.
No, that's
That's Dr.
That's
Ooze.
Dr. Ooze.
yeah, that's the bad guy.
Yeah.
He looks like the bad guy.
And then, yeah, like he dresses up as a wizard and he's like, come on down and get some of Dr. Ooze's ooze. Like, that's another bad guy. That dude.
He was the quintessential like big bad like
Yes.
He
mean.
looks scary.
That's
He
what I'm
looks like
saying.
an evil Power Ranger.
GameStop sells a Lord Zed helmet with the big Z on it. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Like it's a really good show. It
Hmm.
really is. Like it's hard to explain just because it's been a while
Well,
since I watched
no,
it.
I get that.
But
And it's
that's-
also probably
That's all stuff that I remember off the top of my head from probably 10 years ago.
I
that's how
promise you.
impactful it was. though,
I
right?
promise you, if you sit down and try and watch it, it's gonna take some effort though. Like
I
it's
believe
good,
that.
but you do have to get into that mindset of okay, I'm watching a show for kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, some of the jokes, it's really cheesy.
The fight sequences, like
Right.
you got to get past some stuff.
But I mean, overall, it's not bad. It's
good
entertaining.
series, man.
Yeah,
It just seems right up your
loved it.
alley. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it does. I 100% agree.
Yeah, if
That's
you
why
like
I'm
Ninja Turtles, you'll be all about this.
You like that we're just gonna go from that fucking 2-hour special of mental health to Power Rangers and not say a single thing about it?
Yeah, you
We're just
know.
gonna let it.
Yeah.
All right, your show.
I mean,
Are all
it
those
was-
released?
That one comes. It's not released as of recording. By the time obviously this is out, it'll be
Mhm.
out.
Right.
It comes out the last Tuesday this month, so in a week.
So I have a lot of people that I've told them about it,
Mhm.
and they're
Mhm.
like, "You need to send me that." When
So
Yeah, I've.
it's gonna
Yeah.
suck if this doesn't happen because I've been having a lot of issues with it. So Adobe doesn't like to play with itself.
Mhm.
So I had to.
I do.
Me too, man. I don't know what its problem is. So because I made it in After Effects, obviously. Spoiler, not really, because it's out already. If you're hearing this, but
Yeah.
there's supposed to be a second video aspect to this, which is going to be a waveform, so we can put it on YouTube too. But so I had to make it in After Effects, and then After Effects no longer has an export in 2022. You have to move it to encoder.
really,
So I moved it to encoder, and then for some
Okay.
reason, encoder was having a problem actually saving it in MP4 format.
how long is it?
2 hours,
That's why.
2.5 hours. Yeah,
So what your best bet might be
cut
is
it.
to do 2 separate or even 4 separate,
Yeah.
like a half an hour, and then put it together.
So where we're at right now, as of at time of recording,
Mhm.
actually I can check real quick too after I say this, but saved. It says there's a full file there. I can't open it for some reason because I don't have Premiere, and it doesn't play on Windows Media Player for some reason, or whatever the equivalent now is. But it is. Last time I checked, was pending on YouTube.
I have Premiere on my laptop,
Okay.
so I'll just bring my laptop over next time I come over
Cool.
because I have it on my personal, which my personal one's locked out. I don't know why.
Really
Well, it's the
quick
porn.
to
Well,
touch on.
No,
yeah,
it's saying
you
that
gotta
it
get all
needs
that porn.
No,
off
it's
there, man.
saying
I've
that
been
it needs a
telling you.
password, and I just had my fingerprint set up.
Oh.
I didn't have a
Mm,
password,
That's not good.
so it's like it. I don't want to say it's bricked because it's not bricked,
Yeah.
but it's locked me out. I'm gonna have to go to like Geek Squad or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, take it to the Genius Bar.
Oh, but really quick to touch on. So yeah, whatever. Last episode was heavy. That's kind of the point, though. Or at least that's how I've reminisced on it. Is like we have these conversations to get to the big conversations, and it took a little while, but like we got to a big conversation,
Right.
And we had that big conversation. It's like that's why I wanted to have this
Well,
show where
clearly
it's
we
just,
all were
there's-
feeling a certain type of way.
right, right,
you know?
right. Like it's
It was
just
it was Evan's mustache. Let's be honest.
yeah. It was like
does it to you.
it was like right place, right time. We just like okay, let's just
Right.
fucking talk.
Yeah,
And I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I thought it worked out.
That's the idea of this show is just to like let your whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah,
or
it's
if, like,
good.
I don't know. It's,
I'm sure when we listen back to it, we'll be like, "Oof."
yeah, no,
Oof.
I
Jordan,
do.
is that gonna?
I
say that?
do.
Yeah, it was like I was telling him because every time he'd come over, he'd still like it's pending right now still.
Okay.
So it's probably still like uploading or something. So it is pending. The video is pending. I told Jake because every time he'd come over, he'd ask me how far or how it went, how it
Mhm.
sounded complete,
Mhm.
and every time he'd ask me, it's at 18% uploading right now. I'd be like, well, I got up through about 25 minutes of it, and then I had to take a break.
Yeah,
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. yeah.
But I did make it through all of it.
I don't even remember half the stuff we talked about.
That's the crazy thing. Like, and I've listened to it obviously since then, and I still
Mhm.
don't remember. I remember like we talked about car accidents and
Mhm.
then existential dread.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was just a really heavy conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like I don't know. You're sitting out with your front porch with your
That's-
buddies, and it's
That's
like,
what
you
it was.
just
One
get
of
to
those
that-
green patio table talks.
Yeah, you
That's
just
what it was.
you just get to that point in the conversation where everything I don't know, and then it comes full circle. That's a quality conversation, granted. And going to like whatever second or third episode when we talked about like we have the setup to do this, and not everyone is blessed with the setup to do this. It's awesome that I can do this, but like there also needs to be some kind of structure or flow in the conversation. It can't just be like you have one good conversation with your friend and you're like, okay, let's start a podcast. You know,
Right.
like that can't. That's not viable.
I like that the underarching theme of this entire show this far has been don't start a podcast. It gets
like-
brought up like every 3 episodes.
I literally got into that with a girl that I am currently speaking with, one of them. And she's like, you should start a podcast. And I go, you understand if I started a podcast, I would not talk to you anymore? Like, well, why? I go, what do you think a podcast is? What do you think? It's just somebody sitting there talking? Like, no, that's not.
Yeah.
Like, there is planning
Yeah.
that goes
Yeah.
into it. There's editing that goes into it.
Yeah.
I go, and I'm not going to half-ass it if I do it. Do.
Do.
But like, you know, and like it's people that don't know the behind the scenes stuff of it don't get that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was what, the 2nd or 3rd episode. I think it was just me and you because you were doing something. It was like the only
It was,
episode that was just
work or-
us two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like work or something goofy like
but like
that.
we had like a 45-minute conversation of don't just fucking get a phone or laptop. And you're not
Right.
cool if you think, oh, we're edgy and we're not going to edit it and we're just going to let people get.
No.
Yeah.
It sounds bad, man.
Yeah.
You sound like an ass.
Yeah.
It sounds like shit. Like it does. That's what frustrates me with so many people like pushing the podcast thing. I'm not going to name companies, but they just sit there and push the podcast thing constantly. Like, hey, this is live, but listen to podcasts. Like, there's nothing like those little mistakes are allowed to be made when it's live, but even then they're not made.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if I've listened to podcasts where they don't edit and there's a good 30 seconds of dead air.
Oh,
If
it's
you-
terrible.
If you do that on live, anything, television, radio, internet radio, whatever it might be, you're fucking fired. Like they don't tolerate that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're just, and all it is, yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Oh no, go on. Like what? Like that's shit. That's not quality. Like that's the saddest thing about it. Like people don't understand the amount of work that goes into this. And like how many opportunities, I mean, shit, at the company I'm at now, I literally have 7 or 8 quit, fired, rehired dates in 3 years. From getting laid off to quitting to getting rehired, whatever it might be. Like that's the way that it works. I've technically, after I graduated the school, it was in June of 19. I have altogether different jobs. I've worked 4 different companies. I have 12 different days, 12 different like fired, laid off, quit altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So like this isn't fucking easy. And it is frustrating because like we went to school for this shit.
Yeah.
You know, like we busted our ass
Yeah.
for this shit.
Yeah.
Like we sat back, we shut up, we learned. That's all you can do.
Mhm.
Watch what other people are doing. Don't just watch an episode, 15 minutes of Joe Rogan and go, oh, I could do that. No, Joe Rogan has 30 fucking years experience doing this.
Yep.
The interviews.
Dude was a literal broadcaster.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't tell you how much of Howard Stern from the 90s that I watched, Triv, like Munch used to call me the silent assassin because when they would have guests on or they were doing their show, I would come in even when I wasn't on the clock. I would just sit back and watch. And his whole thing is he's coming for everybody's jobs and he's just watching how we do it. But like, that's what you have to do in this industry. Shut the fuck up and listen because these people some have 5 years experience. Others have 40. I mean, I worked with fucking Geraldo. I was with him when he celebrated 50 years. Could you imagine doing this for 50 years? 50 fucking years.
I won't even be alive for 50
Right.
years.
Right. But like, that's like, ironically enough, he started at 27, the same age I did.
Mhm.
He's almost 80 years
That's
old.
right. I forgot you're really old.
Fuck off. And like,
Are
and
there
like,
a lot of
he's been
old
doing
people sorry.
now there are. I don't think there will be in 20 years. I don't think we'll have another 50-year guy like Geraldo or like Munch. Munch is at 45 years.
Well,
Mhm.
it's crazy because like there's only so many fields, at least that I know of, where this is like a thing. And I don't know who I think it was one of you I was talking with this. Maybe it was even Evan. But like broadcasting is like the one thing other than like music where you have people that are like 18 to like 70 and they're working in the
Yeah.
same building doing the same job
Mm-hmm.
and they're just friends because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Right.
And like that's the person you're gonna call if something goes wrong or you need
Yeah.
and like it's such a weird like age just doesn't matter in broadcasting is the weird thing.
Hmm.
Like as long as you sound good or fit the demographic or fit the sound they want.
I notice with broadcasting now, I can't speak for back in the day, But I notice now,
I'm sure you could. You're old enough.
but like I notice it's not even like talent level. It's just whether or not you're willing to just bust your ass.
That's I feel like that's a general you apply that to just about anything. If you that's a sentiment that I truly like stand by, is just if you bust your ass at one single thing for a long ass time, you will feel the fruits of that labor.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, like John Telich when he spoke at the dipshit place.
Yeah, fuck that place.
Yeah. Like
my 2 years is up. Go kiss my ass.
So I thought he put it best when he's like, a lot of people when they want to do this, and this even goes back to the podcast stuff. When people want to do this stuff, they do it with 1 foot in. You can't do it with 1 foot in and then, elsewhere. Like when I started out, when I started out at iHeart, I was maybe getting 8 hours a week.
Mhm.
That was my only job because I wanted them to know I was available. When you need me, call me. I'll come in, I'll work. Luckily, the one shift, it was a shit shift too. It was noon to midnight.
Mhm.
I was like a month in. That's a hard
You got a
shift.
12-hour?
And I was producing all day.
Jesus.
All
fuck.
day. And from 3 to midnight was live programming. That's draining.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like a month in. So I maybe had 20 hours experience doing it. Went off
So you're
air a
just-
little bit, but
yeah.
nothing crazy. But hey, now that's the name of the show. But like through that, because I was all in, I was up there when I wasn't getting paid for it, watching the way that like Seth did it, or watching the way that Frank or Double A, all these guys would do it. I was watching the way they would do it so I could learn and I could be better. Bosses noticed that, and they went, I have hosts that have been there for 30 years going, well, let's give the kid a shot. Let's let him do this. Let's let him host. Let's let him. And luckily enough, like I think the only reason I got the job that I do now, I had no experience doing news. None. I did a sports report a few times. But because they know that I work and I'm willing to sit back, shut up and learn, that's why I got the job that I do now. That's the main thing with this. Just shut up and learn. If you're trying to, that's what I would tell anybody who's trying to do this. Shut up, listen to what the people around you are talking about, watch the way they prep, watch the way they go into work, learn from that, take what works for you, and just fucking work.
I think, and I noticed this probably 2 or 3 midnight. I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, is like when you start listening to other people's work, whether it be a live broadcast or a podcast or just something you're listening to while you're driving, right? And you're nitpicking about what they could have done or like what they missed or dead air or how they're approaching something. I think that's when you know you're thoroughly invested.
Yes.
Is when you're driving and listening to a podcast and go, oh, well, they could have done that break there or something like that. That's me. I don't know.
No, I do the same thing. Like I'll listen to shows and I'm going, oh my God, why the fuck would they talk about that? Like nobody's going to call.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear about that. All you're doing is spouting your opinion. There's no fact involved. Like what are you doing? Like there's no, like for me, Bill Wills put it best. I'm just dropping names like crazy. Right?
Yeah,
now,
right.
Whatever. But
I'm not
so
censoring this. I censored
There-
the last one.
No,
enough, dude.
no,
I had
you're
2.5
fine.
hours. to
No,
go through.
yeah, no, you're fine. Like I'm not
Also,
saying anything bad.
spoiler alert for you guys. Anytime Jake mentions his place of employment, because like about halfway through, you just gave up on trying to stop. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, we're just gonna drop the audio a little bit.
That's funny. But so the first time I hosted, I was my own board op. I had a phone screener, but that was it. It was just me, myself, and I in the studio. And
Shout out Taylor.
it was
Great song.
it was from noon to 3. First time hosting 3-hour show, whatever. I had stacks of papers printed out, what I was going to talk about. And the next day I asked Bill Wills, I'm like, hey, how was it? And he goes, you made noise. He's like, you made noise and it drew my attention. And I found myself walking over to the radio and listening to what you had to say. Then I'd walk away and you'd make noise again. It would catch my ear. Like that's our job. Like
Yeah.
our job is to make noise. Like that's what you need to do to get people to, what the hell are they talking? Well, like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah. I was going to say it seems to be a very cutthroat industry and like you got to be on the point, on the time. But hearing that puts it into a little bit more perspective because I was wondering like if things weren't so cut and dry and poignant and with like media and radio and stuff like that, would our standards be lower? And it's because it's because of that. I need to catch your ear. I need to do
Yeah.
something that is like what holds the standard, I think, or at least what I'm making sense of it now is like that is a big over, like it's like you got to keep the people entertained, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
You gotta keep their and in radio that means talking a lot, and that means catching their attention, and that means saying poppy things, and I that is clear to me. Yeah, interesting.
It's weird because like it's the one I genuinely don't have another analogy or anything else that is like this that I know of anyway, where it's a super cutthroat industry, but it's also like a super brotherhood of people.
Yeah.
I
Like,
believe that. I believe that.
the amount of people that you and because a lot of it is just we're all trying to do the same thing,
Right.
right? And so like especially the people that you learn this around, you want to see succeed. So like there's always people at different companies that may be rival companies in the area and they're
Mhm.
competing for this demo, but
Mhm.
like at the same time you're happy that this person's doing this, and if they're killing it, they're fucking killing it, and you want to give them their props, right?
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. And like I don't know another industry that's like that.
Yeah.
Like maybe like football or something, because like you go to
You
like
know,
college with
I was
someone.
gonna say
and-
like football and like the army and like
yeah,
they're like those couple things where it's like you build that strong camaraderie.
Sales.
I guess yeah.
It's a lot like sales.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. We know a buddy of ours works at a different station than I do.
Yeah.
Fuck his station. I hope they burn to the fucking ground, but I hope he does great.
I don't stand
Like,
by that.
You know what I mean? But no, like honestly,
I am
like that's
employable.
like that's how I feel about it. Like that station, fuck them. But when he's on air, I hope they get every rating that they can, but they're still below us.
That's the crazy part too. Is like, and it's probably not the smartest thing to do, but like anytime I talk with anyone at a different station, or like if I'm interviewing somewhere, like I don't hesitate from bringing up other names at other stations. You're like, well, who do you listen to? I'm like, well, I listen to these people here, but like I also listen to.
So I gave in my first interview, I gave Ray a heart attack.
yeah.
So we're sitting there. And now remind you, Ray was there for Maxwell.
Do I have to censor this?
No,
Okay.
no, Ray was there for Maxwell. So he saw everything of
Yeah.
Maxwell. And so he's like, all right, well, you know what kind of radio do you like? I'm like, I love bits. I commit to the bit. I love good talk radio. You know, I listen to Triv. You know, back in the day, what got me in the radio was Maxwell. You know, I loved what he did. And there was just like this like pause, like just like the air got really
Yeah.
thick really quick. And I'm like, on air, not off air. On air. I loved what he did on air. Like he was topping ratings. He did a great job. Off air, not so much. But like
That's gonna be a promo for this, by the way.
right. It's like on air, it was great. Behind the scenes, off air, no, wouldn't do that. Like I watched this dude on the Buzzard cam, his program director walk in, they're in a commercial break, and he's cussing out his boss full on. So then they come back and he's going, well, too bad he's a corporate butt boy. And I'm like, whoa, like, damn, like this is real. Like they're red in the face. They're legitimately screaming at each other right now. And I fell in love. I was like, this is great. Like I can yell at my boss. Like, and I, you know,
Yeah.
I have,
Yeah.
you know, I've said some things and some stuff. And
Yeah.
You gotta yell at your boss at least once.
Yeah.
well, I think this is something else. I think only in radio and sales can you get away with yelling at your boss. Because I think deep down, a lot of the time, your boss agrees, but they can't do anything about it.
I'm not gonna lie. I've yelled
Yeah,
at my boss
bro.
on pretty much
Yeah.
every job.
Yeah. No, I agree with that heavy. I remember at my last job a specific situation where I was like livid. I cornered my boss and I closed the door and I was like, yo, like we're about to chop this up for a second. And it was 100% a situation of, well, her hands were tied. So,
Yeah.
you know, like nothing that she could do. And I was yelling at the top and it's, you know.
I almost think that's a situation where like the bosses are looking at you and they're like, all right, so I'm not the only one who thinks this.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right,
Cool.
right.
And I think there's like a newfound respect at that point.
But no, to your point, radio is super like that, where it's like a lot of the times the guy in charge isn't the guy in charge. It's a corporate thing.
Yep.
And that's kind of the big issue. But you know, it's the world we live in,
What are you
right?
doing over there?
I might fuck around with the Discord.
Hmm.
What is
Okay.
that?
It's a little old camera. Just
Oh.
wanted to see if it worked.
What is that, like 2
Yeah.
megapixel?
Yeah, dude. It's
Yeah.
gonna look
Oh
good.
my
It's gonna
God.
make you look good. Don't worry.
Hate that.
HD.
Well, my other one's over there, and I don't want to get up. So.
Well, you already made enough noise. We're talking about it. You might as well go get it now.
Well, now that it's a fucking thing,